Howdy, partners. Today I'm going to tell you about what happened to me when I started taking estradiol and anti-androgen. In other words, when I started hormone replacement therapy to become a woman. It all happened so fast. I mean, first, I went to the psychologist and I gave him $1,000 a week. And he didn't say much, but he did listen. And then he wrote me a prescription. And I went to a doctor. And she said, now this is going to make you fat. And I said, that's okay, as long as I'm a fat girl. And anyway, after a week, I started growing breasts. Do you see? I used to have a flat chest. Now I have tiny breasts. And my butt started to grow. I liked this. This is what I wanted because I was a woman and I wanted to be shaped like a woman. And then I started getting fat. Look. See that? This grew in 2 weeks, and that startled the shit out of me. So that's whenever I started thinking, Julian, why are you really doing this? What is causing you to make this change where you get this fat in 2 weeks and you're okay with being fat as long as you have tits? I don't know about that, Julian. And so I got introspective. Turned out I had never been introspective before. And I started with my earliest memories, and I'm like, what has happened in your life, Julian, that has caused you to want this? I recognized a pattern of humiliation and trauma. And I realized that being a transgender person, this is a manifestation of trauma. Now, the cross-dressing in particular was a manifestation of the trauma. And being transgender, this identity helped me bury the shame and the guilt of being a cross-dresser. And so that's what's happened. That's what happened after I started hormone replacement therapy. I realized that this was a manifestation of trauma and that my cross-dressing was an erotic thing. Obviously, I always, since I was 13, and I came out as trans at 18, I would always wear women's clothes. And it was erotic. Because I know GF, and I want GF. And it was the closest thing that I could come to holding a woman was to feel like a woman, whatever that means, you know? Just to wear fabric that I associated with women. And then to jack off. I was so heavy with guilt and shame. And when I was 18, I moved out of my parents' house and I moved in with a witch. I call her a witch because she told me she was a witch. And I told her about my guilt and my shame, and she said, well, hey, maybe you're just trans. Maybe you were born in the wrong body. And when she said that, the guilt and the shame just went away. And then I embraced Hola, Perito. Look at him go. And then I embraced my delusion and said, I am this thing that I am not. So I have to appear to be. And I became what's called a female impersonator, where I started trying to talk like a girl as I presented myself full time as a girl. And I thought I felt like a girl, whatever that means. And it was so exciting to grow breasts, but then I got fat. And then I started a family, and I found Jesus later. 10 years later, I found Jesus. Obviously, he was with me early on too. But that's what happened whenever I started hormone replacement therapy. What about you? Have you gone on that journey? What did you do when you started taking it?